afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another session of our MSME Masterclass. Today's discussion focuses on a challenge that continues to define the growth trajectory of India's construction and infrastructure ecosystem, fixing the operational execution and structural inefficiencies that slow MSMEs on the ground. From supply chain coordination and project execution to manufacturing discipline, scalability, and long-term infrastructure readiness, MSMEs today are operating in an environment where speed, reliability, and operational resilience increasingly determine competitiveness. To help us unpack these realities, we are delighted to welcome Mr. Gaurav Rungta, Managing Director of Man Structurals Private Limited and a respected voice in India's infrastructure and transmission manufacturing sector. A fourth-generation entrepreneur, Mr. Rungta has played a pivotal role in expanding Man Structurals into one of India's leading transmission tower and infrastructure manufacturing companies. With a legacy spanning more than 6 decades since 1960, the company today operates across the design, testing, fabrication, and galvanizing of higher voltage transmission towers, substation structures, microwave antenna towers, windmill towers, and solar structures. Under his leadership, the organization has strengthened its presence across both conventional and renewable infrastructure while building a reputation anchored in engineering quality, execution reliability, and long-term industrial capability. Beyond business leadership, Mr. Rungta also has contributed extensively to industry development and policy dialogue. He has served as past chairman of CII Rajasthan, co-chair of the CII Northern Region Energy Committee, and member of the CII National Council. He is also the co-founder of EO Jaipur and YPO Rajasthan and has been recognized as Entrepreneur of the Year in the power sector by Enterprise Asia. Equally noteworthy is his commitment to institution building beyond industry through the PM Rungta Foundation, which supports initiatives across education, healthcare, and sports development. Today, he brings us not only decades of manufacturing infrastructure experience, but also a practical understanding of what enables MSMEs to scale sustainably in complex and execution-driven sectors. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Rungta to the session today. Welcome, sir. Welcome on board.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to the session. And it was a very elaborate introduction, which wasn't required, but really looking forward to the session today.
Our pleasure, sir. Always our pleasure. So we move on to our first question for today's session. We want to understand from you, so why do MSMEs in construction and infrastructure continue to face execution delays despite growing demand and stronger market opportunities?
So there are various reasons why these challenges are there, but if I pen down a couple of challenges, the basic challenge, say in the power sector or the road infrastructure, is the clearances, which is the land acquisition. When you're doing a project, you need to acquire the land and acquire permissions from forests, highways, farmers, and various other approvals which are required to construct a line or construct a road, which is a very big challenge in today's world, because these clearances takes a lot of time, and it also entails a lot of delays because of the timeline into the project. Also, automatically when the delays happen because of these clearances, which are a lot of it is you cannot predict them while planning the project. So these delays you face when the project is under execution. You try your best to resolve it, but then the also problem comes is the costing, because your costing goes up, your projects are overshooting the timeline, your cash flow gets disturbed. So these issues create a problem in terms of cash flow management as well. Also, we are yet a lot dependent on imports. Like in the solar sector, power sector, a lot of our equipments are still coming from China, and our entire reliability is on the equipment supplied by them. So one, with the current geopolitical disruption, the supply chain has got disrupted. So you don't know when will your supplies come, they get delayed. Also, the supply reliability coming in, because it's not indigenous, you're importing it. So it has various factors. Because of the fuel prices going up, automatically your transportation cost goes up of the imports. So That's a very big challenge. Also, in these sectors, infrastructure sectors, now private players have started coming in. You have various endowment funds, you have pension funds who's coming in. Earlier, the government was the main investor. So that problem of cash flow or payment is getting better, but still there is a lot of way we need to still cover to be able to get to streamlining.
Got it. Got it. So, moving on, my next question to you is what are the biggest operational bottlenecks that you see that have slowed MSMEs during project execution today?
So the main problem is that because of the delays in the cash flow, which is either overshooting the project or not getting payment of time, MSMEs are stressed with cash flows. And because of which there is a spiral trigger, because once your collection is delayed, your supplies get halted, your execution becomes slow, and again, you're not able to further bill. So you get into a cash trap, and MSMEs have limited resources of funding. So once you get cash trapped, then it becomes a very spiral kind of a problem, which is very difficult to come out. Also, MSMEs are suffering because for them, there is no buffer for them to absorb the increase of the cost, the increase of the delay of the project, which also entails penalty. Whereas the larger contractors or larger players have that bridge gap mechanism. Also, they have different line of funding. They have better credit lines, which MSMEs unfortunately don't have. So that becomes a very big challenge. Also, a lot of times, the MSMEs overcommit themselves, not realizing the hidden multiplier which can delay, which could be because of the payment, because of the cost of your equipment going higher, because of the geopolitical issues. So they are constrained with the cash flow, and that is where the whole problem starts. Also, overcommitment. They end up overcommitting than their capacity, and then they get into a trap.
Right, right. So, how do you think poor planning and reactive decision making affect productivity, timelines, and profitability in MSME led projects?
So I have seen that many MSMEs just straight away jump into executing the project without actually planning the project on paper. Because before even jumping into any project, you should have a solid plan on paper with a contingency plan, that if there is something, you have a contingency buffer, and then you have to work backwards after the planning. Unfortunately, they just straight away jump into the execution. They think that they'll be able to solve the problem as and when the problem comes. But there are a lot of problems which beyond your control, and that delays. And that is where the problem of planning versus the timeline and profitability gets affected. And those who do the plan only plan for the best case. They don't plan with the contingency, seeing the ground level issues which are daunting on them, and which are normal issues which come on ground when you are executing the project. And this can have three cascading costs when it comes to timeline overshooting. One is the client putting penalties on you. You have to pay a higher interest cost, because when you get into the cash trap, you need to borrow money to come out of it. And third is that your input cost, your raw material cost, if that gets escalated, increased because of dollar, because of geopolitical issue, because of oil prices getting disrupted, or whatever may be the reason, you don't have that buffer with you. So that also creates a very big problem.
My next leg of question is with regards to procurement inefficiencies. Tell our attendees, why do procurement inefficiencies continue to create cost overruns and delivery disruptions for infrastructure-focused MSMEs?
So a lot of MSMEs, what they unfortunately don't do is that while planning the project, you also have to plan that when should you order your inputs. And say if there is a price increase, they wait for the right time for the prices to come down, or they get slightly more greedier, saying that I'll be able to push further to reduce the price from my supplier so that maybe I can slightly get a better margin. This habit has to go away. So you have to stick to your timeline of the project, whatever may be the cost at that point of time. Secondly, you cannot see one project as a loss-making project. You have to see holistically. So, say maybe you are delaying a project, and because of not procuring on time because you think that the price will go down, you are not only overshooting that project, your reputation is getting beaten, your cash flow is getting beaten. So you have to see holistically that if you have multiple projects and if there is one project which is making loss, which is fine, the other project will make you money, but the the repercussions of delay project is much larger than the loss which you end up making in one project. And also there are a lot of external disruptions, as I said, that from supplier side, from geopolitical issues, unpredictability. You are not able to hedge. So, for instance, we've seen metal prices shooting up. So MSMEs that don't have equipped systems available for them to hedge. Maybe when you're quoting for a tender, you could have done a pre-bid tie-up, or when you won a tender, you could have done a tie-up with the supplier, in which you might have to pay slightly more. But to save cost, you don't do that, and uh, you might end up making money, but then there is a huge risk of also losing money, reputation, and timelines. Huge risk of also losing money, reputation, and timelines.
So tell us, how can MSMEs, improve coordination, between procurement, project execution, and on-site operations?
So coordination, as I said, planning is fundamental. Until unless you don't plan and the plan doesn't have the buffer, there is a very fair chance that you will end up getting into a mess. Secondly, it's very important to do a pre-bid tie-up, or tie-up once you are able to get the project, and lock your prices so that there is no vulnerability for you in terms of what price you will buy in. You're, so you are executing the project. While quoting the project, you know this is your margin. The problem is the MSME thinks that I can make more margin out of it. And that is where the problem comes. So stick to the margins which you have. By instead of delaying your procurement, complete the project before time. You'll save costs. So you will have to work on the other side rather than working on saving small costs. Secondly, it's very important for you to have a monthly or a fortnightly monitoring system. Because if the monitoring system is missing and if you are slipping, you will not know when you are slipping. Because if you have a plan, say maybe a software like an ERP or a SAP in place, and you've planned everything on your on the ERP and you are following up on the tech, you exactly know where you have failed in that month. And then immediately you have a recovery plan so that you can bring resources to bring that back what you've missed on track immediately. But if you don't have a tracking system, you'll be wanting at the end of the project and seeing that you've overshot the project timeline without even knowing. So as I said, planning is must, but more than that, monitoring is even more important. And then deploying adequate resources to make up what you have lost. That's also very, very important. And also, you will have to plan things like festivals. We see Diwali, Holi, we don't get labor on site. We have rains coming in. You have availability of labor various times will become the issue. So all these things you'll have to well plan, and wherever you slip, you have to quickly recover that. Because otherwise, if you don't recover it immediately, then it will be very difficult to recover it at the end of the project.
Talking about working capital, sir, tell our attendees, what role do you think working capital discipline plays in preventing project slowdowns and operational instability?
So I think cash flow planning is it's not just about having money. It's about knowing exactly when you need it and exactly where to deploy it. But most of the MSMEs plan revenue, but not the right timing of the outflow of the money. So that planning discipline has to come in well in advance. Also, you should always keep a contingency buffer, because in infrastructure projects, lot of times you are overshooting due to whatever reasons you're not able to bill. So you have to keep a buffer always available for yourself, because without a buffer, there is a very fair chance of you getting failed. So that buffer should always be there. And a lot of MEs, what they do is they over leverage themselves. They take more orders than their appetite. So that is where the mistake is, because you see the numbers, you want to grow, and that those numbers, that growth you are chasing is luring you, not realizing that you don't have the adequate resources. And what people think is that, okay, I will be able to raise money, I can get the resources when it comes to need. But what if you're not able to? And we have seen, at least in our business of power sector, many such companies failing every day, day in and day out. We have seen n numbers of companies failing purely because of over leveraging themselves.
Absolutely right. Tell us, why do you think many MSMEs struggle to scale despite having strong demand pipelines and capable execution teams?
So I think the limitation factor almost always is one, the cash flow. Second, the capability, either your manpower, your talent, your people. That capability is a very big issue. And also, I think founders' dependency also on creating a lot of bottlenecks. When every decisions need to stop at the top, when the buck stops at the owner table, the decisions get delayed. So you will have to give power to your team to take decisions. Maybe some decisions will be wrong, but it's a great learning for the team, so that they will not make the mistake next time. But if you don't give them the power of execution and taking the decision, and every decision comes to your table, there has to be delay, because you cannot see everything. So empowering your team is very, very important, and letting them take decisions is what is critical, which a lot of MSMEs fail. Also, exponential growth in the infrastructure is also, it comes with its risk. Scaling up without a cash flow support end up in a situation which traps you badly, which is kind of balancing. So how do you balance yourself? How you balance your cash flow versus the growth? So you have to grow, because that is something which is, if you don't grow and you're at the same level, your cost is increasing by the day. So if you want to look forward-looking, growth is the way. But how do you balance your growth versus exponential growth versus a sustainable long-term growth, which you can sustain and which can take you to a really long way?
So, discussing about technology, tell us, how can technology adoption really reduce inefficiencies across sourcing, inventory, logistics, and project management?
So I think the real value of tech isn't efficiency. It's the accurate information. Because without accurate information, management depends on supervisors on ground, and sometimes you don't get the real picture. So like for us, we have a ERP system in place, in which whatever work is done on the site is uploaded on the same day with a GPS location. So we exactly know that, or rather, I would say my supervisor exactly knows that at this size GPS location, this is what has been done today. And his boss, which is the project supervisor, also knows that the right information is coming on the system. You are not dependent on information coming from people. You are dependent on the tech. The information is coming from the tech. So it's absolutely accurate information which is coming to you, and you exactly know where you are slipping. So the tech automatically alarms you that this was the original planned project. This is where you're slipping. And if you don't take corrective actions now, you will slip on the project and it will have multiple repercussions. So, in our personal case, we've had a great value of bringing in tech at ground level, which gives us a complete transparent information, and also procurement alerts in terms of if your supplier is getting delayed. So the system gives you that alert that your supplier is not supplying you on time, and if he doesn't, it'll overshoot your project. At that point of time, you can take corrective action. Either you can give the order to another supplier, or you can expedite with the supplier, push him for the timelines, because a lot of times if your supplier is not supplying you on time, you cannot execute the project on time. So these systems give you that alert, which in normal case you might have missed out. Also, inventory management. So, for instance, on site you need cement, you need grit, you need tor, and a lot of times you procure it when it is about to get finished, and say at that point of time there is some kind of a disruption in availability. So, inventory management, again, the tech gives you a alert well in advance that you need to refill your inventory so that the project goes smoothly without any failure on the project size. And in sourcing also, technology plays a very big part, because a lot of times you can do bidding with your suppliers. So there is, so like what we do is that a lot of times we run bids, online bids, where all our suppliers are kind of participating in the bid, and then you choose between it's not necessary every time you choose the one who is the lowest price. You choose the timeline, you choose the reliability, you choose the supplier. But at least in a bidding system, transparently, you know what is the prices which have come, and everything is at your desk. Otherwise, what happens is if you're taking manual pricing, you are again dependent on human, you're dependent on people. Then you frankly don't sometimes get correct picture. So tech definitely in things like this has really helped us personally.
So let's move on to the common mistakes that MSMEs make, while managing vendors, or contractors, and supply partners. Tell us the most common ones that you've seen them make.
So the biggest mistake we do is that our suppliers or our vendors' problem is not our problem; it is his problem. But if we don't jump in and help him resolve his problem, ultimately you are the sufferer. So you have to jump in at that point of time and help him resolve the problem so that your supplies are resumed and getting on time. So I think that is very, very important. Secondly, choosing the right supplier and having a personal relationship with them. That's also very, very important, because professionalism is all right. You have to have professional relationships, but once you have a personal connect with your supplier, I think it makes a lot of difference. And also, as I said, that a lot of times you cannot just go by pricing. Sometimes, like personally, what I do is that I also rely a lot on my gut feeling from the supplier. So I know that this guy is good. He might be slightly more expensive. I trust my gut that he'll be able to deliver my product on time, and then we go ahead. Most of the time it works, sometimes it doesn't, but that's a learning process you have to go through. So I think that plays a very important role. And one is that a lot of times we don't replace our underperforming vendors at an early stage. We keep on waiting for them to fail. So stage one, we've jumped in, we try to help them resolve their problem. But if they're still not able to do, we are still kind of waiting that no, he will be able to do it. If I go today in the market, I'll have to might buy a slightly expensive product. But no, if you have to complete the project on time, you have to act on time, and you have to rely on the data.
Absolutely right. So moving on, let's talk about delays. Tell our attendees, how do delays in material availability affect project quality, labor productivity, and customer confidence?
So, could you come again for the question? Sorry.
Sure, sir. I was asking, sir, how do delays in material availability affect poor quality, labor productivity, and customer confidence?
So, most material delays are kind of, as I said, that you're not choosing the right supplier for yourself. You are going ahead with the L1, which is not the right. You have to evaluate everything holistically. You have to evaluate how the performance of the supplier has been with other suppliers. Have he given the product on time? A lot of times people quote a very aggressive pricing to get the order, and then midway they realize that they are not able to supply, and that is where you end up having problem with your project. So always evaluate your supplier thoroughly, not only considering on the L1 pricing, plus rest of the things. And when the material doesn't arrive, the problem comes in that lot of your labor sits idle at the site. And when your labor is sitting idle, you are paying your people who cannot work because there is no availability of the material for them. And then it entails the penalty. Your cash flow gets disturbed, and it starts to lose the confidence of the client. So everything else follows from there, because what happens is your supplier is failing, your labor is ideal at the site, you are paying the cost both for the labor and the interest and the penalties, and you are missing the milestone. So by missing the milestone, again, cash flow stress is coming. Your client's confidence is getting eroded on you, that can you deliver the product on time or not. And especially infrastructure projects are very, very critical timeline projects. Like for power sector, the sector we are in, there is a generation capacity which is coming in. You need the transmission capacity on time, because you cannot have the generation capacity getting wasted because the transmission system is not ready. Or you're making bridges or roads. Again, you've planned a road project in an X timeline, and you're overshooting that project, and then everything is falling apart. So there is a lot of repealing effects to this. So it's very important that your supply chain monitoring has to be continuous and not periodical.
Absolutely right. So why do you think is process standardization, becoming critical for MSMEs operating in the construction and infrastructure sectors?
So I think the process standardization is the only way to guarantee a consistent quality. Because if you don't have a process standardization, without it, you cannot achieve a guaranteed quality. And quality depends on who you are working, who you are working with, in terms of your suppliers, your clients. So it's very, very important. So like a lot of times what happens is our client tell us to supply slightly inferior quality of material, because maybe they have quoted some price which is tight for them, but we have standardized our quality. Because if I don't do that, my organization gets confused in terms of what quality I have to deliver to who. So we have benchmarked the minimum quality standard, that we will not go below this quality of standard, whether we get work or we don't. So that is very, very important in a longer run if you're growing as a company. So that quality standard you have to kind of put in place for your company, and also it has to match up to your client requirement. You have to deliver either the quality required by the client or a better quality product than what the client wants, because consistent quality will keep your client coming back. Lot of times we have seen we get higher price than our competitors purely because we are able to deliver quality product on time. And that is what will take you as an MSME to the next growth pattern, if you are able to deliver that quality and on time. and just not run behind price war, because there will be somebody else who will kill you in the pricing tomorrow. So quality is the only thing which will keep you the main differentiator between you and others.
Right. Absolutely right. So my next question to you is, how can MSMEs build stronger operational discipline without significantly increasing the fixed costs?
So I think technology is the most cost-effective route to accountability, which reduces the need of one supervisory people, because as I said, that you have a tech in place, so you don't have to have repeated check mechanisms physically present on ground. Because once you have say clicked the picture, you have the GPS location, nothing can go wrong in that. Otherwise, you will have to keep people who are keep on checking it repeatedly. So tech, according to me, plays a big role into this. Also, people still execute on ground. You need some kind of a investment there also. So one, that your people should be rightly trained. The training has to happen from time to time. You have to keep on upskilling them. You have to keep on multi-scaling them, and you have to keep on checking their capabilities and efficiencies. Whoever is not efficient enough, you need to replace that. So that will have a lot of problem for you. And discipline always, either it is the tech or it is system or standardization, everything comes from the top down. It will never come bottom up. So the owner or the leader has to have a very clear visibility in terms of what does his organization stands for, and it has to always come from the top.
Moving on, sir, tell us, how can MSMEs strengthen forecasting and planning capabilities in volatile construction markets?
So I think experience is the foundation of a good forecast. So you need people, a mix of people who are experienced, who have done projects earlier, and a young team who can execute on ground. Because so there are a lot of things which you cannot predict sitting in a boardroom, which can only be predicted or forecasted by the people who have done work on ground. So you have to have a workforce which is experienced. You have to have a team which must be proactive and not reactive. So they should act well before and anticipate issues well before it will actually happen, so that delays can be taken care of. And volatility isn't just geopolitical. It is political instability, frequent regulatory changes. Like we've been working in countries like Africa, we see coup happening. We see suddenly the military regime coming and taking over the country, and the project gets halted. Your people get stuck. You have suddenly in today's world war zones happening. So there are a lot of things which you cannot predict. So there is a lot of volatility, but yeah, you have to take it how it goes. But with experience, and also when you are working in countries like this, you have to have local people with you, because they know the ground realities, they know the problems, and they can get you the solutions for those problems. Also, pre-bid tie-ups and hedging your price volatility helps you a lot in terms of moving into that market. Because say if you're working globally, then you know there are volatility in a lot of things. So if you are able to hedge that rightly, I think you can go a long way in terms of protecting your bottom line. And for unforeseen cost escalations, a lot of times we go back to our client. We said, okay, we will complete the project on time, and we have overshot the cost. We had not envisaged this cost, and neither did we plan that. But that is where we stand, and we have seen majority of the time the client appreciates it and compensates the cost to you. So by saying that no, unless I don't get the compensation, I won't execute the project. Or what if I've got stuck? What do I do? No, complete the complete the project in time, be in touch with your client, tell him your problems, and I'm sure that they will appreciate that.
Absolutely right. So I think transparency helps both ways.
Absolutely.
So my next question to you is, why do execution gaps often emerge between management teams, site engineers, and field operations?
So I think basic reason of it is ground reality. That a lot of times we don't have ground reality sitting in the boardroom. Uh, Clearances, farmer disputes, weather, soil conditions, political interferences. Sitting in the boardroom, we say, and we don't appreciate the problems on the ground, which is not the fact. So we have to again jump in and try and solve those problems and not blame our people, which is very, very important. And when the problem is when the management starts blaming the team without understanding the ground reality, the trust breaks down. And when the trust breaks down, your team gets demoralized, and they either don't put in their 100%, or you think that they are the most inefficient people on ground, not able to do it. So you have to understand the problem, go deep into it, and try and fix it, rather than sitting in your boardroom and telling that the timelines are not getting completed. And I think tech is something I am talking a lot about tech because that's the future, and it has helped us a lot. But tech, as I said, gives you a factual picture on ground, because when you kind of actually see the reality on the ground, is when you realize, yeah, there is a problem. Like for instance, you've had unprecedented rains. Say you have planned that your soil quality will be X, and when you end up, it's instead of a soft soil, it's a hard soil. So you're taking more time to actually execute the project. So you need to appreciate that. And most important thing is that your culture of the organization, that your door should always be open for your team to escalate the problem to the top. Because the problem comes is when you close your doors and you say, no, I will not kind of hear you out. That is where the problem is. The owners, the founders have to open their doors. And so for us, even a worker can walk up to my cabin if he has a problem and flag the issue, and we are open to hear about it. So that is very important to build a culture, that it should be a completely open culture. And the fixing has to be two directional. One is obviously tech gives the management the ground reality visibility, and the open culture actually gives the team to escalate the problems without any fear on at the top, so that actual problem can be solved, rather than them just kind of trying to patch up and show the management that we are trying to solve the problem, but factually the problem is beyond their control.
Right. So moving on, tell us, how can MSMEs balance cost pressures without compromising the quality, safety, and delivery timelines?
So the temptation to cut quality on struggling on one project where the margin becomes an issue has repelling effect. You lose on your reputation, you lose on your repeat business, your project P&L gets disturbed. So it is very, very important that quality is something which is uncompromisable. That is the bottom line. You cannot compromise on quality if you want to go a long way. And think it like an organization. I said, I don't think it project by project. Maybe one project you lose, but the other project you are making money. But what if that one lost project you don't execute, you compromise on the quality, and it has repelling effect on your reputation, your repeat client, and failure or maybe blacklisting of you, or the word moves very, very fast when you deliver bad quality product. And so as we've always believed that quality is something which is uncompromisable, and when actually the costs genuinely overshoot due to the unforeseen circumstances, go to your client, be transparent, tell them that this is the fact of the situation, and I'm sure that they will appreciate. Maybe one client doesn't, but the other will. So you should be very, very open that way, and always uh, build a pricing buffer and a timeline buffer while quoting, because that is your first line of defense. Where if you have that, the chances of failure is very less.
Okay. So, discussing about early warning signs, help our attendees understand what are these and that indicate an MSME's construction or infrastructure operations are becoming inefficient or unsustainable.
So consistently missing delivery timelines across projects, not taking a one-off, but a pattern is a clear signal that there is something wrong. That is a warning sign that you should know that you've missed a monthly target and you're consistently missing that. It's a sign which you should know that you need corrective actions. Also, losing money project after project. Uh, so maybe you lose money in one project, you lost money in two projects. Because if you are continuously losing money because of the either over leveraging yourself or operational inefficiencies or cash flow management, that is the time we need to relook whether you are in the right business or not, whether you have the right capability to do that business or not. So those, otherwise you are heading towards a disaster. And also when manpower problem keeps recurring, it's usually is that your business is growing at a very faster pace and your HR is not efficient enough to get you the right people, the right talent. Because we are seeing infrastructure at the moment is going through a boom. And there are so many projects coming, so many companies coming, you are hiring left, right, and center. And if you don't you shy away by hiring good talent because of cost, then the problem comes. Because then you don't have the right people to execute the project for you on the timeline which has been stipulated. And also, cash flow is something which you have to keep pace with the demand of the project. You can't just not think about that.
My last question to you for today's session, sir, is if an MSME wants to immediately improve execution efficiency and reduce project delays, what are the first operational measures it should implement?
I think full transparency at the project level is the prime most. First thing, everyone needs to know the plan. The whole organization or the execution team should know that this is my plan, these are my targets, and where do I actually stand. By first, it's important that your team is aligned with the plan. Your team gets involved when you are planning, so they are becoming a part of the plan. They have bought in. There is a buy-in by them on the plan, and then this is how they have to execute it, and they should tell you the actual situation if they are failing. Secondly, senior management has to get on the ground when the project is struggling, and the answers are rarely in the boardroom. You have to fold your sleeves and jump in, and you have to dirty your linen, dirty your shirt and trousers, and jump into the dirt if the project is not getting completed on timeline, and be on ground and execute it. By just kind of sitting in the boardroom, the problems will not get solved. Also, you will have to deploy extra resources early, not at the last moment. When you are waiting for the project to get into the critical delay phase, is not when you need to put in the resources. You should preempt it and put the resources at the right time, so that whatever has been lost in terms of the delay, you are able to recover on time, so that ultimately the project gets completed on time. And if you need any external interventions, either from the government or from the client or from any consulting company or outsider or even a co-industry, you should not shy away to reaching out to them, because they are the ones who will jump in and help you in these extraordinary situations.
That brings us to the end of today's discussion. So thank you so very much for being with us and for sharing your insights with our attendees. I'm certain that they will benefit from this. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. And I think it was a very good session. Sometimes when you do sessions like these is when you actually intercept that what you have gone through as an organization and what you're doing right and not. So it's I would say a learning for me as well, revisiting what the journey has been and how can we improve it and make it better.
Thank you. So it's been an honor to have you with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
For our attendees who are online, if you'd like to view the current episode, if you've missed any part of the important and interesting episode on fixing what slows MSMEs in construction and infrastructure, please go on YouTube, type JSW One MSME, and you will find all our episodes uploaded there. Thank you once again, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.